My name is Chloe Yorg. I'm going into third year history and English literature. I started my rugby journey in grade 9. It was the one sport my brother didn't play, and so I felt that it was my opportunity to be different. I played in grade 9 and 10 for the boys team. I always knew I was different. I always knew that I wasn't a boy, but it was a sport that I loved anyways. COVID hit, and so I took those years off until I came back to university. I chose to come to Trent for the inclusion. From what I could tell online and from talking to other people, it was a well-known university towards diversity and equality, and I wanted to be a part of that. I talked to the coaches, I talked to administration, I talked to athletic center, and they were very supportive of me coming out to try out and practice. So I was able to fall in love with rugby again as Chloe instead of who I used to be. Everybody knowing has actually created a better environment for myself, because when I'm stuck in a situation where it's different for me than one of the cis athletes, I don't have to hide anything. I can just kind of be forward about it, and people know and won't question it. So I can talk to my coaches, I can talk to my captain and players if I have an issue. Immediately when I came out, I didn't really have a lot of friends. So me coming out and immediately having 35 people who were extremely close and good friends who were there for me when I needed to, especially in my first year coming into university. And so having those people in my life immediately gave me a jump start. My advocacy started during COVID, especially when a lot of anti-trans in sports started coming out, especially in the United States. And that actually fueled my want to be myself, to fight for that. And so me playing sports, me playing rugby again, even after those years, I was still kind of in love with it. And so being able to come back and then be more than just a player, be an advocate, be a director, it's really meaningful. The youth sports policies as well as the OUA in Ontario is amazing. They set it up specifically so people didn't have to out themselves. There are challenges because people know, because I can never know what people truly think. People are always going to hide their thoughts. Outwardly, everybody's been really supportive. Trent, Peterborough, and the Rainbow Griffins. I haven't really had any issues. But again, I've always kind of thought that it's never the players who are really against it. It's usually policymakers. It's usually people who aren't in sports. I find that athletes are more likely to want that inclusion, where it's lawmakers, where it's politicians who are more against it than anything else. Sports policy, I found, has been the best. It's very much be who you identify as, and that's all that matters. We don't have to know. Nobody has to know. I think that's what a lot of trans athletes, queer athletes want. They just want to be like everybody else. They want to be able to come into the sport, play, have fun, not worry about everything else going on. Of course, right now, that's not always possible. It can always improve. But I think everywhere else, especially in the world, in Europe, in the States even, should try and rise to what we're doing here in Ontario. The Toronto Rainbow Griffins is a rugby club out of Toronto. It's a part of the IGR, which is the International Gay Rugby Federation. And it's created a club for queer, like-minded, BIPOC, anybody who wants to play rugby. The Rainbow Griffins, for me, has created that space that I was looking for. The like-minded individuals, the other trans athletes, the other queer athletes, and advocates, people who are fighting for the same thing that I wanted to fight for. And so it allowed me to step into the advocacy space. Being part of it allowed me to, one, become a leader, being able to mentor people, being able to work as a director. I'm a director at large and the games coordinator there currently, giving opportunities to meet other trans athletes. Before the Rainbow Griffins, I didn't know any other trans femme athletes. And going there, I've met 4 or 5 maybe, who play in Ontario, who play around the world, who play in Europe. So it's great having that kind of being normal, feeling like playing with cis women, feeling included. But it's also nice to have people who understand me more and who can only understand me, being able to be a group and kind of get together. And that's how we're able to advocate. That's how we're able to work together. I think the biggest thing is to outright show your support. So even if it's using the trans flag to show that your club is inclusive, even if it's on your website saying, no matter what your race, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation is. Just those few words immediately makes that a safe space when somebody's looking to play. So especially with varsity sports, people are kind of worried and they're scared. I was scared to come out and play. I didn't know how I would be seen by coaches, by players, by the school. Obviously, it went really well, but it's kind of that fear of being alone. And so I think that universities around the country and even rugby clubs can just take those few extra steps towards showing outwardly that you're inclusive. My experience at Trent has been amazing, I guess is the first word that comes to mind. Being able to be myself, to learn and grow here into who I want to be as an adult, from not knowing what I was planning to do, to now coming here and making these steps towards my life. Being a history student, I learn a lot about sex and gender in the past. And I think that gives me a better understanding and gives us a better understanding of what the future could hold. Being able to play sports here, being able to meet the people that I've met, and being allowed to grow into the person that I wanted to be. As a 16-year-old, wondering at night, what could my life look like if I took the steps towards being myself? This is 10 times as good as I could have hoped it to be. I think that a lot of that comes from my decision to come to Trent.